Viking fans? How you living out there? My name's Kyle Smith. Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. I'm really excited to do this show with you on a Saturday, and I'm joined by Adam Carlson.
I'm here. I made it.
Heck yeah, you did.
I'm the guy that kept us from doing it yesterday, though, too, so you can cheer me and boo me. It's okay.
That's okay, because Adam has an 11-0 record, right? Now that you're at Minnesota Sports.
Minnesota Professional Sports, 11-0. Got to go see the Twins just lay a whooping on Chicago last night.
Nice.
And
my man Dorian Foley here, he was actually at the game Thursday. What's up, dude?
Yes, I was. What's going on, everybody? Let's talk about this.
We're going to jump right into that game. What an exciting game Thursday against the Rams. Kyle West can't join us this week. He's stuck at work, so he's taking care of some stuff. But we got some information from him. We got some quick hits from him. We'll pass along that stuff, but he'll be back soon. Jumping into this week's episode, 321. Turn your head and Goff. Jesus Christ, I haven't looked at the name of the show until right now. That is incredible. That is top 5 show titles, and out of 321 episodes, that says a lot. Turn your head and Goff.
I like that we can do a little bit longer titles now. It makes it a little bit more fun.
Man, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, we'll talk about that game. Vikings traveled to L.A., took on the red-hot Los Angeles Rams. We'll break it down later, but we always do quick hits here, and it says a Survival League update. Do you want to wait till maybe next week till all the other games, or did anybody?
Absolutely. That's just kind of there for future reference.
Okay, perfect.
I don't even know if anyone picked Minnesota or the Rams. I'll take a quick look, but that would be kind of a tough game for anybody to make a selection on. I would not have recommended that. We did. We had YY pick the Vikings and get a strike, but you can't be mad at him for picking the Vikings.
No. So what we'll do, this will be a longer week. We'll have a lot more quick hits on the next episode. To kind of break it down for any of the new people that we have, because we do have 2 new YouTube subscribers. David Bade or Bade. It's got 2 A's. I'm not sure how to say that, but David.
I'll go with Bade.
We'll go with David Bade and Kathy. Thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. We're going to plug that a lot because we've kind of sort of just steamrolled and snowball avalanched our way into this thing how it is now, and it just keeps building and building because people like David and Cassie. So thank you. But the Survival League. Adam heads it up, and we do one every season. You can't join now, unfortunately, but if you stick with the program and next season rolls around, you pick a team every week. Once you pick that team, you can't pick them again. So you really have to pick and choose the best matchups of each week. And at the end, the whole thing to bring this back home is we give away free stuff from all of us here at the Purple People Podcast. So you can win free stuff just by listening to the show. So that's your incentive, and we'll give you an update.
On our Facebook page, I pulled a little bit of an oopsie, and I shared a picture of the standings with my current selection on there. So I guess if you want to copy my pick, it's there. But I recommend you do your own research and go with your own feeling. That's where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just a cool way we like to give back and interact with people. Same thing when we do the show here. You can interact live with us in the YouTube chat, and we'll pick out parts of the conversation. So thank you to everybody.
Just like Art Rocha here, who says just got here to the chat and he loves free stuff. Skol. Just like Ollie Atkins, who added a Skol as well. I mean, people are starting to show up now. Good to have people in the live chat comment, ask us questions. Well, some fun.
Yep. We'll get to fake ESPN, Fox, and all those big networks. We'll get to fake do a live show with you and try to rip everything off from there. I'm totally cool with it. Thank you guys for being in the chat. And we're going to do some quick hits because that's what we do here. So this is the most interesting one of the week so far. This is crazy. If you didn't watch the game Thursday, the long snapper for the Vikings, Kevin McDermott, lost the tip of his pinky after it was caught in a face mask and it got stitched up before returning to finish the game. All right. He finished the game missing a body part after he required 16 stitches and additional surgery on Friday to reopen the wound and fix it more cleanly. I'm sure that Kyle West put this in here because he mentioned he was going to do it anyways. But honorary game ball, Kevin McDermott, what a gritty performance. Oh, my God.
Now, I admit that I have cut off the tip of my finger before, and it does hurt like a son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. I didn't get stitches. I went for super glue because it's all I had at the house. And the tip of my finger, if I push on it, you know how like your finger will get flushed with blood? Mm-hmm. The tip where I cut it off doesn't.
Yep, that'll happen.
So yeah, it's a little different. And after the game, well, during the game, before he went out there, he just covered it up with everything he could to go out there. And, to snap that ball, it's got to feel unnatural to have that little bulge there. Mm-hmm. So it's good that he was able to take care of that. But 16 stitches to close it back up.
I've got 8 across my forehead. It's almost an inch long, so I can only imagine. Because the way I'm reading it, correct me if I'm wrong, like it was completely off.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
And they showed it. If you guys didn't watch the game, he was hiking the ball. So normally you get a firm grip if you guys can see my hands. But his pinky was off to the side like this, and a big brace, kind of like you would see for a broken finger. And just the fact that he came back is incredible. So Kevin McDermott, we appreciate you. David Morgan took some snaps at long snapper, a little bit high, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
We need Kevin McDermott there. We said last week on the show he's like the highlight of the special teams, minus Dan Bailey. We'll talk about him later because we got to see him finally. But good God, man, we hope you feel better, Kevin.
Speaking of David Morgan in the chat, we have Ollie Atkins saying, "Did you see Weil, the punter, hugging David Morgan after his punt was almost blocked?" Oh no, but I bet you that having that extra blocker there is pretty nice. Sergio Moreno was at the game on Thursday. He says that it was awesome seeing the sea of purple in the stadium, but it wasn't awesome seeing the loss.
To be expected.
Yeah, I agree with you, brother. I agree with you. I was there. I was in enemy territory.
Now, I'm going to jump in and grab a couple quick hits here because there's a little bit of interesting stuff that we don't have down in our notes, but I found interesting. The Alliance of American Football, they're still setting up their rosters. They're getting everything together for next year, but they made some more signings, and this time there's a couple interesting ones, some names that people might be familiar with. Peter Pujols, the Vikings' 4th quarterback during training camp, he is making the jump there, along with Jake Weineke.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be interesting. Former Vikings draft pick Kareem Arez, the guard. And this is the big one. This one could get some people watching, especially Vikings fans. Matt Asiata.
Oh, man. The surprising 11-touchdown guru that year the AP was out.
I mean, I like watching Matt Asiata play football. He just smashes through everyone. And whichever team in the Alliance lands him, they're going to have a pretty talented guy. So it's pretty good NFL experience.
That's awesome. Good for him.
Very nice. Very nice to hear.
Now, I know that you've heard a lot of people, too, complaining about, I'm not watching football anymore. The game's turned into a joke, whether it's the politics of the whole thing or, the quarterback rules or whatever people are supposedly stopping watching for. But Thursday Night Football, Vikings versus Rams, had the same exact opening numbers as Thursday Night Football last year, proving that nobody's stopping watching.
It's all show. It's just, I've said this before on the show, it's just people online that want to act like a badass and a tough guy. And whatever, man. It's the most watched show on TV. Anything with the NFL and a football game, an actual game, it's the most watched thing of that day or that specific time period. So, whatever, man. I'm not going to stop watching.
I just thought that was really awesome that the numbers were consistent, and it got to be an exciting opener for Thursday Night Football on Fox as well. It was kind of weird seeing it on Fox. I don't like the Fox announcers as much, but, what can you do?
Also, too, they were talking about, if you remember historically, at least in recent years, it used to be divisional matchups, and they kind of got away from that, which I like. I understand the divisional games if you're a diehard for that division, but not for the national audience. They're not going to – because I know the NFL divisions are somewhat in the same area, somewhat there. I put in air quotes. But if you got two juggernauts like the Vikings and the Rams, hell, everybody's going to tune in to watch that game. Why not?
In the chat, we've got Yang Yash saying Matt Asiata, a.k.a. 4th down and no gain. Oh, and Ollie Atkins, it says Asiata, either 3 touchdowns or nothing.
Correct.
And that's pretty right.
Oh, that's super funny. This is pretty heartfelt. I'm going to talk about Everson Griffin. If you guys listened to the show last week, we didn't want to put anything out without an official report, an official statement. The Vikings have came out in support of Everson Griffin through this tough time. He's battling a mental illness, and having a mental problem per se, and he came out with a statement. It was posted on Instagram and all over social media, and he says, "The past week's events have raised many questions, and I want to apologize to everyone who was impacted. I am currently focused on resolving personal issues with which I've been dealing for a long time. Once I have had time to address those issues, I hope to share my story with everyone. I'm extremely grateful for the support I've received from my family, the Vikings organization, my teammates, and our tremendous fan base. I apologize for not being able to take the field with my teammates and do not have an exact timeline for my return. I promise, however, I will return with as much improved will return as a much improved person and player." This made me very, very good. This is like a sigh of relief hearing this, reading this. You don't have to apologize, Everson. We get it. Just get better. We hope you're back as soon as possible in the greedy fan side of us, but we understand you got to take time to do you, man. So this was cool to hear from Everson. I'm really happy that he's all right and he's trying to get fixed.
Yeah, we all have our demons. We all have our problems. How we deal with them is important. Perhaps he just pushed them to the side a little too much to focus on football and family, and he let it go a little bit too much. Everson's always an intense guy, and everything he does 100%. So maybe that caught up with him a little bit as well. But I really hope that they can find a way to get him the help he needs and then get him back on the football field. Selfishly, I want him back on the field. But in the meantime, Stephen Weatherly's been doing a pretty decent job filling in, rotating in Bauer as well. I think the two guys have done a pretty admirable job while moving Hunter over to the other side. But anytime that you're without a Pro Bowl player, a defensive standout, I think he was he top 10 on the NFL top 100 this year? I know he was close, if not.
It was either him or Harrison that was the highest. I'll look it up for you.
I know he was near the top anyway. He's such a well-respected player and one of those people at his position that just does a fantastic job. So I'm hoping that's the case. Ollie Atkins in chat says, "I got to meet Griff once. Super friendly, outgoing guy. Yeah, when he's not talking to you about boss baby. That guy, he doesn't shut up about it."
He was number 19 this past year. So
19, not bad. Top 20.
Very good.
I'm just glad that he has that support from the organization as well as us, the fans. It's really that can really go a long way, obviously, and been a real beneficial in helping him, get his his stuff together and whenever he's ready to come back out and play. But that goes a long way, most definitely.
I'm also glad he didn't jump into a lot of the stupid rumors that were out there. Whether it was him being caught with cocaine or breaking into teammates' houses or I'm glad he didn't go full Des Bryant and start responding to people, because that would have been even worse. So right, we got what we wanted out of the whole statement. Right. We got to hear that he was working on himself. He's in the process of trying to get back to playing football, but that is something that is not at the top priority right now. It's him getting himself straight, and that is what it's got to be.
Yep, we love Everson. We hope you get better, and hope to see you soon, man. I'm with Adam, too. If you guys have been watching the game and trying to study, it's weird seeing Daniil on the other side, and they're like, all right, who's in? Is it Weatherly or Deshaun Bauer? And you couldn't have said it any better, man. I think they've stepped in and did a fine job.
Yeah.
I know these last two games aren't really some that you want to remember for a long time, but breaking down individual performance, I haven't seen too much from those guys to be like, oh, man, you can definitely tell Everson's out, because they're giving it their all, and I really like the depth that we have there. So.
Well, here's a little nugget that I was going to save for later, but Stephen Weatherly actually led the team in pressures during Week 4. So
I love it.
Nice.
And you wonder with a guy like that if he was always just going to be a backup for us or whatever, and now he gets thrust into that starting role, and he can. This is your time to shine, man. Good luck. We hope you tear it up. I know in the Bill game he had a sack, so cool, good for him. This is a bit of an interesting bullet. LA Rams wide receiver Robert Woods, who caught 5 passes for 101 yards and a touchdown on Thursday against the Vikings in their 38-31 win over us. He was having a worse day than most of us. After returning to his home in the San Fernando Valley, he found his back door broken and his house had been burglarized. Come on, man.
Oh, wow.
I hate people. People are the worst.
People are the worst.
We are the worst species on this planet, I swear.
Well, the good news is that he should be able to replace most of what was taken, if anything, because he's got the money, probably has insurance, but it's the privacy issue. It's the fact that he can't trust people to not just break into his own private house. The thing that
first crossed my mind. Someone has to know that this is his house, and because they did it that time, they know he was at a game.
Right.
That's crap, man. That's but you're right. He probably has insurance. He can probably replace everything and not have to dive too deep into his pocket. So
I noticed they said house though, and not mansion. So that's a little better, I think, right? Because I always picture all pro football players known in mansions.
What it is, it's baby back bullshit. That's what it is.
Yeah, correct. 110%. My dad always raised me like that, man. I hate a liar and I hate a thief.
It's respect for other human beings. That's what it is.
Yep. Sorry to hear that, Robert Woods. Not happy with the performance you had Thursday because that was kind of embarrassing. But
thank you for the fantasy points, though.
Yeah, I started Todd Gurley. I was not disappointed.
Oh my God.
I did. Pro Football Focus ranked the Minnesota Vikings as the 5th best defensive line in the NFL. Wonder if that'll change.
They're still doing quite good. But then again, that personnel on there, it's hard not to.
That's a good for that single unit. I could see it. We've had more struggles as you go, farther back. But that's cool. That's a good little nugget to have. I didn't have any doubt in this team that way. I felt that was one of their strong suits on the defensive side.
Yeah, Sheldon Richardson has been having an absolutely powerful season, and those defensive tackles. Sometimes you don't realize everything that they do to create disturbances, block the run game, all that kind of stuff. Defensive ends, we've seen the depth and the rotation that they all have. It's so powerful. And it's not like it's an area where the Vikings have been neglecting in any way. They've poured a lot of money and time into making sure that it is dominating. And so far, it hasn't resulted in a ton of sacks, but it's been a lot of pressures. And honestly, the sacks will come, but right now they haven't been.
He's been my favorite acquisition over the offseason. I was super pumped when I found out that he wanted to give us a shot. I'm hoping that it's for more than just 1 year, but like you said, for the time that we've had him here, he's been showing out. And Mike Zimmer said it. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. He's like, I didn't see this guy in practice. Where was he the whole time? So
right.
That's pretty cool. Pretty awesome to see.
I noticed that Mr. West did not include the Vikings ranking when it came to offensive line by Pro Football Focus. And that's where they have landed 27th.
That's not good.
That is not good, especially considering they have poured a little bit extra money in when they brought in Riley Rafe and Mike Remmers. They used top draft picks, 2 second-rounders to try to fill it up. I do believe that they'd be in a lot better position if Joe Berger had decided to stick around another year, and if Nick Easton was able to play and be healthy and not have the after effects of that surgery. I also think that it would be scheming a lot better if Tony Sperano was around. But for right now, 27th, not good. The offensive line coaches are going to have to get something worked out because right now there just isn't the time.
Yeah,
and there definitely isn't the run blocking. Definitely not.
You bring up a good point, man. We didn't forget about Tony Sperano, but it definitely you want to think about how much different it would be if he was still around doing that. That's a good, solid point, man. Didn't think about that. I don't usually like to jump in with what the masses say. Maybe it's just because I'm a turd and I like to argue with everybody or debate, but I wasn't upset with the pick with Mike Hughes. There was a guy from UTEP down here in El Paso that was available. They said, hey, go get this guy. I had faith in him. Obviously, we didn't know that a coach was going to pass away, stuff like that. But I think it's about time to start shifting away from first-round defensive players. Not saying that you can't.
I don't know. The way the season's been going, it might not be as easy.
Well, I want to talk about it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to see something of the sort to where you go out and grab one of the top 5 guys that are on the line at some point. And I don't think you're going to find that because people aren't scared, even though it's not a sexy pick, to go out and grab an offensive lineman at 4th overall, 5th overall. They don't care. If they need it, they're going to go grab it. And the other thing that sucks is too, when you win a lot, you got to pick later on in the round. So do you really want to jump up and grab that guy and maybe take a reach? But man,
I still do think that Brian O'Neill's going to be able to bulk up after this year, and he's going to be the right tackle for the future. I'm still not a huge fan of Mike Remmers at almost any spot. I'm not. I've never really been that sold on him.
You're not wrong, and we said that when he came from Carolina. He never had like a high grade. Was he a right tackle initially?
Yeah,
so,
they tried moving him all over the place, and nothing really stuck.
It wasn't a swap out for Khalil because he was left tackle, but he just hasn't lived up to the pay that he's been getting to, which is annoying. But we'll see. Who knows where we're going to go with these picks later. I'm with you, though. Brian O'Neill, solid choice. If you guys didn't understand that, what Adam's saying is he's a little bit small for the position he's playing. So, I mean, that has an effect when you're going up against guys. Think of it this way. Their team's Everson Griffin that he's going up against. You got to be big to slow those guys down. So we'll see how it pans out in the future.
Also, we got to kind of remember, too, that there are some key defensive players that might not be around next year. They're going to try to find a way to pay Anthony Barr. They're going to try to find a way to pay Trey Waynes.
Well, maybe not Anthony Barr.
I'm just saying.
No.
So, well, let's go ahead and jump into that. It's a good point. It's a good transition to talk about this game. All right, 38-31 loss on the road, short week. I'll say this just as an overall starter. This was worlds greater than the Buffalo Bills performance. That is one that I will not talk about again unless I absolutely have to. But this was, especially offensively, you really couldn't have asked for much more. 31 points on anybody on the road is usually a win, usually. But the Rams, as we look at it right now, they're undefeated. This is the best team in football right now. They don't have a weakness on any phase. They have the hottest coach in the NFL. I expected us to lose this game, being realistic. Now, after watching the game and how it unfolded, we damn sure could have won.
Yeah.
But
yes, indeed. Yes, we could have. Yes, we could have.
Hey, it's a close, hard-fought one. This is going to hurt later on when we start doing seeding for the playoffs. This is going to have home field implications unless the Rams just fall apart, which is not going to happen. They're going to keep beating the hell out of people. So before we go through the breakdown, we have game balls and donkeys to give away. This was an ugly defensive performance, so you're probably going to get a lot of defensive donkeys.
Well, I think you are the only one that did not pick Anthony Barr for their donkey.
Dorian, did you pick him too?
You know the hell I did.
So, I mean, Barr got burnt in coverage so many times when he's supposed to be this speedy linebacker that can do everything. When Mike Zimmer brought him in, he was supposed to be their prototype, their joker on the field, to be able to do whatever's asked of him. And what was asked of him was way too much for him to handle.
He's the highest draft pick that we've had in a long time, too. 9th overall. He got embarrassed the other day. And we're going to break this down and talk about it more.
3 touchdowns from his coverage.
Right.
Yeah, quote unquote, his coverage. His coverage. His jogging like, oh, damn, I missed that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't know if he's struggling with an injury or what's going on. Like if he didn't get enough sleep last night, I don't know, but something just was not and has not been right with him.
This has been the worst year yet. And then we coming to say that after last season, it's kind of because, on the offseason we came out, we're like, all right, you didn't have the best year. Well, your boy Eric Kendricks gets signed. We lock up all these defensive players, and he's the odd man out. And you're like, man, that's weird. I will not defend him for poor play. I will say in the front before we get into it deep. There are some times where he had a mismatch that he shouldn't be on this guy. There shouldn't be this point where he has to cover a wide receiver because he's going to get his ass burnt. And I will throw that out there for people that want to throw him out and say cut him immediately. No, you're not going to find someone better than him on the street or on the team. You're going to have to put up with him for the rest of the year. But I can't disagree with you.
Hey, Michael Maudi's out there.
This guy has not lived up to the hype.
Okay, I agree with you, Kyle, in regards to he shouldn't be covering a wide receiver, but it's still effort, bro. It's still effort. Still,
I can't argue with that.
Well, you look at the situation too.
Give up. And his body language. I mean, okay, I'm not just bragging because I was there, but just his body language in itself, it just spoke volumes of. He was just half speed, man. He was just he wasn't all the way there. He wasn't fully committed. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you get beat, okay, you get beat. It happens, but still, put forth effort. Show that you actually care.
That's what I said during the game too. Is if we get beat outright, I won't be upset with the game, which I feel like we did. But what you're saying too brings up a good point, because with the first touchdown he gave up to Todd Gurley, it was a receiving touchdown for Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
The next touchdown that Jared Goff threw, there was double coverage. And
even the first one though, Barr wasn't playing the player at all. He wasn't playing when he saw Gurley reach for the ball. He didn't reach. He didn't mirror anything. He didn't turn around. I don't understand that at all. He's a better player than that.
That was my point for the second touchdown, I believe. It was Hughes and Alexander, or it was Waynes and Alexander. There were two of our corners. Perfectly thrown ball. But there was an attempt to make the play negated. And there were two guys in the area. But you don't see that from Barr. And I'm not noticing that looking back now until Dorian is there seeing it. So I can't argue with that, man. I don't know what it is. We've seen the kid play and ball out. I saw him, whoever put it up the other day in our chat, he's playing with a broken freaking wrist, running down running backs and punching the ball out. Like, I need that guy. I need that guy back on the team.
We got to look at the cornerbacks, though, because there are some issues there. Trey Waynes had a concussion during the game, played another play, tried to take a corner, and just his dizziness knocked him right down. He couldn't get up. Training staff went out there, had to help him off the field. It was just not good. And then Xavier Rhodes gets a leg injury. So, you don't have that veteran experience anymore of Terrence Newman to come out there and help. You've got Mackenzie Alexander. You've got your rookie first-round draft pick, Mike Hughes. And you've got undrafted free agent Holton Hill. And you don't even have Marcus Sherrills to go out there in a pinch.
Yeah, well, I'm not even going to touch that joke.
So then you're left with, who do you put in coverage? And you're left with, is it going to be Kendricks or is it going to be Barr? I mean, those are your options.
What about George Iloka that we signed? What about him?
That's a big question among the fans.
A safety, but I mean,
we just got that in the chat. Jake was asking, where is he? I don't know. I haven't seen Zimmer use a lot of safeties in nickel formation. Instead, he'll pull in another linebacker, and I don't know why we aren't seeing more safeties.
Well, I know, and I don't know if I read it from you guys in the chat or whoever brought it up, but with Mackenzie Alexander and being a nickel, he's been awful. The secondary looks like shit, guys. I don't know how else to say it nicely, and I hate it because when you got Harrison Smith, you got Sendejo, we signed Iloka, you got Trey Waynes, who's got the speed, and then Xavier's going to body everybody. We should be shutting people down, and that's why I'm giving my donkey not to Anthony Barr but to Xavier Rhodes. Drawing penalties like 3-4 years ago when he couldn't figure it out and he was too physical, and then kicking a flag. Xavier, what the hell is your problem? Stop doing stupid shit like that. I cannot stand when you shoot yourself in the foot, and I know Mike Zimmer wanted to rip his face off the other day for that.
I'm still laughing at Chris Thomason. That was hilarious on Twitter. Chris Thomason, Xavier Rhodes, you can't kick flags like that. So then I replied, yes, he can, and he did.
Yeah, we still hate Chris Thompson around here. Jerk.
I just gotta give him some crap. But I think that one of the major reasons too is that along with all these talented players on defense, these good receivers, Jared Goff at quarterback, there are some really talented players on that Rams offensive line. Andrew Whitworth is a potential Hall of Famer.
Good God. Yes, and we have former Viking great John Sullivan still playing. He's still playing out there. So
Sully's always been solid.
They just have the pieces. They have the coach. They played better. They were at home. I don't know what to say. We had everything kind of stacked against us, but we still played a decent game.
Sir Moreno says, I saw Rhodes walking towards the flag and thought to myself, don't do it. Don't do it. And he did it.
And he did it. I can't deal with that kind of stuff, man. That's just childish. You're a professional. And I think part of the thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I see Xavier Rhodes get pissed off, it's because he's getting beat.
Xavier Rhodes, we've seen him get mad. What did you think of seeing Adam Thielen get mad?
Oh,
I loved it. I loved it. because it was a different side. We never seen that side of him before.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Well, and that circumstance too, that the ref negated a freaking score. Like, and then
he got mad during when he was taken out when his head hit against the defender's knee, and they thought that there might be a concussion.
Yeah. We talked about that at the bar I was at. Shout out to Jack's Beach House down here in El Paso. It's a Viking bar in El Paso, Texas, which is awesome. And I can't believe we were talking about that. The guy I was sitting with. I can't believe I've never heard of that before. If the player's showing obvious physical signs that he might be out of it, or he's hurt, or he's limping, or whatever, yeah, you take the time out. He was already lined up in a spot for the next play.
I've never seen a player removed for a medical review. That was a first for me.
He was hot.
He was not happy. It was third down. The Vikings had been going to him on a lot of third downs.
He knew he was going to catch that third down conversion. That's what it is.
But I do think that the NFL did get it right. As much as I don't like Thielen being off the field, it is a player safety thing. The hit that he took, even after reviewing it, watching it a couple times, that did not look safe whatsoever.
No, not at all.
So I'm glad Adam Thielen's all right. I wish he had been able to be out there for that play, but safety first, man. Well,
speaking of, since we already did donkeys and we're talking about everything else, my game ball goes to Adam Thielen. He is the first Vikings wide receiver to have 4 100-yard games in a row since who? How long has it been since this happened? He's got 400-plus yards. He's going to get 1,000 yards again, barring an injury. He's going to do it again this year. He is the #1 receiver on this team, and he's Mr. Clutch 99% of the time. He's incredible.
We also got to kind of hope that the trend for these first 4 games doesn't continue throughout the whole season. You can't have Kirk Cousins out there throwing the ball 55 times a game.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I'm okay with him throwing 40 to 45 touchdowns, but not at the expense of going 8-8. Like, nah, I'm all right.
Oh, it's pretty brutal. My game ball, I think I wrote one down. Yeah, I did. I went to Lord Aldrich. I did. What a great way for him to get fans to know his name. Go on primetime television and catch 2 touchdowns, one of which was a really sneaky pass over the defender, and the other was just a nice snag. I enjoyed watching that, and even after the game, when they were talking to Stephon Diggs in the hallway, they asked him, they said, "What do you think, Aldrich Robinson?" And Stephon Diggs just could not stop talking about how happy he was for his teammate to get those touchdowns after joining the team, so recently. So you can tell that it's an absolute team game, and he's already got the support of his teammates, and it seems like friends right now, because there's no denying the friendship between Thielen and Diggs. Hopefully Aldrich Robinson can get in there, and the more I've seen from him, and even getting that one catch last week, I'm ready to see some more of him as well.
Yeah, wide receiver 3. Laquan, move your ass out of the way. Go.
Yeah.
Yep, get out of the way.
I don't give a damn if you caught all the passes that were thrown your way. No, fuck out.
But he blocked really well on that Adam Thielen pass.
I knew Adam was going to say it every time. Hey, raise your hand in the show and in the chat. Let me know. Raise your hand when you saw 17 catch a pass. You're like, that doesn't say right. Who is that again? I was like, who is that? I was like, get the hell out of here. We just got him a week ago. This is awesome. And then he caught another one. Yeah. Everybody in the bar is like, who is that? So, yeah, it's Aldrich Robinson. We signed him from the Niners. Yeah. I totally
Jake Z in the chat is making a pretty good point. He says, we got hosed on some calls, as we always seem to. And the worst, I understand the phantom touch. If you think that he was touched, you call him down. But if it's not obvious, you're supposed to let the play go, and they did not let the play go, and that's what they should have done. Now, that one, I can understand a little bit of a mistake. Okay. Now, when you throw a flag for an obvious block in the back, and I mean obvious, and then you pick it up, what? That video should be used as a teaching tool to referees to show them what blocking in the back is.
Oh, teaching tool, like the same with these tackles against the quarterback.
Because when you see a block in the back and you hear about a block in the back, that's exactly what it is.
I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this. If you never listened to the show, and I know the guy that I sat with, I'm sorry I forgot your name. He definitely subscribed to the podcast because I told him about it while we were there Thursday. I'm going to swear, and it's not going to be good, so I'm going to tell you to turn your volume down now. fuck these referees, all right? I'm going to stand high. I'm going to raise my fist up, and then I'm going to turn around. I'm going to turn up this finger because every week there's a complaint, and it's not because fans are being, warlords on Facebook because they want to be armchair GMs. There's a legitimate complaint in at least one game every week where we, as the fan, are sitting our rear ends on the couch or in a chair, and we go, that's not right, and this is why, and I know that. And then we don't get any explanation on it. And I want to know why. For that call, I want to know why they pulled Adam Thielen out, and don't give me that safety bullshit. If you didn't see it, you can't recognize it first and foremost enough right when it happens. The guy's telling you he's okay. And then we need to be better about policing up stuff like these phantom calls. At least let the guy get up and attempt to keep going and play till the whistle's dead, but they just blew it dead immediately. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff, and I hate to feed into that controversial conspiracy crap, but there's a lot of calls in this game that went against us, and if we can still remember them 2 days later, they're pretty obvious. So I'm getting really irritated with these referees. We can't get this right in this league, and I don't know why.
They went to Mike Piera, and Mike Piera just did not understand either call during the broadcast. They said they should have let the play continue and then do the review. And yes, that's the way it should have been done. The block in the back. I understand that can't be a video review play, but if you are confident enough on the field to throw that flag, you better be damn sure that you made a mistake if you pick it back up.
That's just the biggest thing for me. It's the same thing that's happened throughout my military career. It's kind of the same idea. I'm not bashing on them because Air Force, you're not going to get me with this. Thank you. But when you have a way that you want to do a process, say for the referees and how they make calls, right? But if nothing happens and then you're just left without answers and it never gets answered, you never get told why and never get the justification for it, and you just have to eat it. That's bullshit. That's not how this should go in the NFL. That's how we should at least get an explanation and have someone say, cool, because Mike Zimmer's not afraid to come after people for that. God, I remember the first 2 years he was calling out Soldier Field for having a shitty field and the clocks were terrible and all this stuff.
Same thing with Washington. It's bad.
Something it has to give for that point, and I just don't agree. I don't agree with it.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Kyle West agreed with your choice for a game ball. He gave his to Adam Thielen as well. Dorian, which way did you go?
I was gonna go with Aldrick Robinson, but
good choice.
I went ahead and went with Adam Thielen just for this nugget. There was a guy sitting behind me during the game, and just overhearing his conversation with whoever he was with, and he kept on saying, "Oh my gosh, who is 19? Oh my gosh, that's 19 again!" Like throughout the course, like, oh, and it just tickled me because it was just like, as much as Adam Thielen has been doing, and his contributions and stuff, there are people still out there that have no idea who he is and what he brings to the table. So that really tickled me pink. But Adam Thielen, he's been on a roll. We've mentioned that before, and Adam, he pretty much had us in the game still. For when we was trying to fight from behind, saying to get back, he had us in it, man. He had us in the fight. Shout out Kirk Cousins as well, man. Kirk Cousins, real quick, passed over 400 yards. But yeah, Adam Thielen, just with that nugget from that Rams fan that had no idea who's 19.
So I have to piggyback on that because I posted it on our Facebook page. You should check it out, facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. Less than a day ago. The NFL's Instagram gave him some love before that game, and this is a cool little stat to kind of build up to what you're talking about, because this is why the national fan base doesn't know him. So they broke down for the last 5 years how many receptions per game and how many yards per game, and it just keeps growing. In 2014, he would get half a reception. 2015, 75% of one, so 3/4 of a reception. 2016, coming out season, 4.31. Last year, 5.69. Through 3 games this year, he's averaging 10.67 receptions a game. That's incredible. And the yards went from 8.6, 9.0, 2016, 60.4, big jump. Last year, 79.8. And now through 3 games this year, he's averaging 112.7 yards a game. That's a bad
He's still leading the NFL in targets.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change.
I mean, no knock or disrespect when I ask this question. So, who's really our number one wide receiver? Is it really Stephon Diggs or is
no? It's Adam Thielen, 100%.
And that's no disrespect to Stephon Diggs. Obviously, we just paid him, but
see, I don't think teams need a number one anymore. I think if you have a number one, that's awesome. You can throw it up to Julio or AJ or whatever. But look at a team like the Rams. The Rams don't have a number one.
Truth.
And they can hurt you with anybody.
Brandon Cook's the number one, but they've been killing it with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Because to me, and you guys tell me, how do you think about this, Adam, Dorian, people in the chat? When you think of number one, you think of leading the team in targets, yards, touchdowns, all of that. If you can spread the ball around and you have all these speedy little guys like they've been doing in New England forever, or like you saw Thursday night with the Rams, that's what a number one receiver is to me. He's getting all the targets and all the yards and the touchdowns, whatever. No, you don't need that.
Sergio says we have two number one receivers. And no, that's just Laquan Treadwell. You're seeing the two number ones next to each other. But that is.
I was pleasantly surprised with Laquan this week.
Yeah, he had the one drop, but otherwise not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, he fixed it, which was good because it happened kind of early in the game. Then he fixed it and made some catches. Converted a third down, too. So,
yeah.
You know what? You know what furthers my fuck Laquan Treadwell is because he's huge.
Yeah.
Like in person, he has that dude has nice size. And I just looked at him and I just want to just, damn near want to wring his neck. And it's just like, and you gave us nothing. What are you doing? You have all that size. And for what?
Hey, this is his best season so far.
True, and you know who it makes me think of, but he doesn't return? It's Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson's a monster. He's humongous. And he sucks. He's a terrible wide receiver. He's playing with the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL right now, and he's not going to do shit for the Patriots because he's just not good at what he does. I don't get it. I don't know. I'm going to give Laquan the benefit of the doubt, mostly because we don't have a choice, and they're not going to let him go. Unless he does something stupid like get a DUI or something, they're not going to cut this guy this year. So I'm just going to hope that for the rest of the season, he just maybe figures it out. I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised.
We're starting to do something a little bit more new here with asking you guys on our Facebook page to give us your game ball and donkey of the week. You'll see an interesting gold graphic of Mike Zimmer looking like he's going to hand the ball off to a donkey. And that's what we're using here. Should try to get an answer.
Shout out to Adam for that because that's fucking crazy. looks like this donkey is about to go and just leap through the pile at the 1 yard line and score the game-winning touchdown.
Now, we only posted this an hour and a half or so before we went live, so we only have 4 responses. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more next time. We can post it right after the game, get a lot more responses. Maybe some people that are hot in the moment and just want to go off and, or show some love either way. But we had Emmanuel Mueller in the chat giving his game ball to Captain Kirk, with Thielen being the runner-up. And his donkey is Anthony Barr. He says you can't get beat that many times in coverage and expect to be on this team or starting for much longer. David Orenson says, Kirk Cousins, this pains me as a former wide receiver because I hate giving the quarterback the credit.
My man, David.
His donkey of the game goes to Mike Zimmer because he keeps getting outcoached.
I can't really. Oh, God, this is the first time we're saying this, or maybe the Philly game last year. I'm not completely against that. I know David. David's a friend of mine from back home. So what's up, dude? Glad that there's some East Coast ties for the Vikings stuff going on, but what's going on with the defense, guys?
Yeah, I expected some bigger adjustments, maybe some different looks, but we didn't see a lot of that at all.
The thing that's been killing us the last couple of games, too, it's not up front mostly. I know the guy that I was sitting with, too, shout out to, I can't remember your name, at Jack's Beach House. If you're watching the show, man, had a great time. Kept saying, man, every time Todd Gurley gets the ball, he's running for 12 yards. But that's Todd Gurley. I'm not expecting that throughout every game this year because not everybody's Todd Gurley. But the place we've been killed this whole year, and it started in the San Francisco game, it's with the linebackers and it's the secondary every single time. And I didn't think that was going to be an issue.
My friend Clint Fredrickson, real good friend in real life, went to a couple games together with him. He says Aldrick Robinson to game ball. I like what you're thinking, buddy. And he gives his donkey award to the defensive play caller, which we all know who that is.
Mike Zimmer.
Yeah. Joanne Skaj says game ball to Cousins or Thielen, and the donkey goes to the D-line or Barr. I'm gonna say no to the D-line because they got pressure even if they didn't get sacks. And this was one of those games where I think that Goff could do no wrong. Like, you have those days when you're absolutely on, and he was on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think any amount of pressure in the world could have rattled him.
Oh, what did they have?
That's what we got from our fans on the old Facebook.
Well, since we have it, I mean, we're going to break down the game here in a second, but I posted this up yesterday at 12:45, so it's been up for a little while. We have quite a few comments. I'm gonna run through it because it's kind of sort of the same thing. But I asked yesterday, what was your biggest concern through the first quarter of the season? So we should probably have some of the same answers, but run through that real quick. My buddy David Ordson said, just one, ? Said, inability of the O-line to get a run game going, which would help the quarterback pressure issues. Spoken like a true football player. Also, Zimmer's lack of making adjustments. Cool, got that. Craig Morley goes, all of this. Josh Owens said, finally another Vikings fan who doesn't look at this team through the purple-colored glasses. Hey, we try to leave that out here, man. If we stink it up, we're going to tell you it smells like crap.
Yep.
John Dosel said, Ev's helped for him personally, but also the loss of leadership on the defense. Ow, that's deep. It's good. It's a good one. Thomas Buse, he's a regular here. What's up, dude? Defense not showing up to games, average 17 points per game, now giving up more than 20. That sucks. That's hard from last year. Tim Thompson says, run game and now defense. Sergio Moreno says, the defense has given up 110 points. Yes, the O-line is struggling, but this hasn't stopped Cousins from producing. It's a solid point. Dave Hickey says, defense. Ken Tomlin, Davinio Warner, both say defense. Scott Conrad says O-line and defense. Eric Larson, defense. Deb Derry Meester says offense and defense. All right. Dom Clark thinks the NFL is really rigged. This is the best comment of the week. Rotana Din says, are you kidding me? You didn't see the ghost of Deacon Jones tackle Adam Thielen? Lee Montgomery says, sucking bad. All right. And Emmanuel Mueller says, defense getting torched. So kind of the same overall theme there, O-line and defense.
Well, if you want to feel a little bit better, the Vikings are the first team to play the Rams this year that did not get beaten by double digits. So the Rams are going to be making everybody look silly this year, and not just Minnesota. And they made the Chargers look horrible. Arizona didn't even show up.
Rightfully so.
Well,
it's just been a mess so far.
Well, to add on, both my cousins, shout out my cousin Raymond Mack, and my boy Deshaun Watkins, both Rams fans, they both shared this same sentiment. They gave me, I guess, encouragement as far as like, man, like the Vikings are no joke, and the one thing that they said that was in common was, I don't want to see you guys in the playoffs.
Right.
So even despite their win, they still recognize, our potential. They still recognize that we can be a major problem, for them, in quest of a ring. So that made me feel good, but it was just still, me being a Viking fan and me being like, a realist, and it's just like thinking about everything like we're talking about now in terms of one of our defense. The main deficiency is our defense. But that kind of made me feel kind of good, like to,
Yeah, they got tested in a big way, and they have not been tested like that yet this year.
Well, I think, Adam, I don't know if your counterpart, Adam, wrote about this or not. I think it was on the Viking Age. But you got to remember, a year ago, we were 2-2. Literally in the same spot we are now, minus a tie. So we have one less win, but we have the same number of losses going through the first quarter. And the schedule, for the most part, minus 2 or 3 games, is favorable for the rest of the year. Don't sleep on any teams like we kind of did with Buffalo. Yeah. But the Eagles are going to be a test. The only 3 other games that I'm super worried about, the Eagles coming up next Sunday.
Yeah.
The Patriots in December. And I'm worried about the Saints game. They haven't looked that good, but it's the Saints. It's Drew Brees.
You're not worried about the undefeated Dolphins yet?
No. No, not at all.
No?
No.
Freaking Dolphins.
I think they're improved, but it's hard. It's like, can you really believe in Ryan Tannehill?
Now, I had a writer on the Viking Age approach us with an idea for an article. They wanted to write about how the Week 5 game against the Philadelphia Eagles was a must-win game. And I responded to them. I said, well, I'd be really interested to read that personally because I disagree. I don't think Week 5 is a must-win. There's still, 5 division games coming up. If you can win those, you got a nice advantage going forward. The rest of the schedule, there's some teams there that aren't scary really that much at all. The Cardinals don't look that scary. The Jets, not so great. I'm not worried about the Dolphins at all. And the Lions have looked really, other than that game against the Patriots, they've looked really not good.
I think we can beat the Packers at home. The Bears are a big shocker, man. That defense is nasty. I do not whatsoever, and I hate saying this because he's a North Carolina quarterback. I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky. I don't.
So you guys don't think that Week 5 is a must-win either, right?
No.
When the schedule came out and you looked at it, you looked and you said, okay, Week 4 against the Rams, that's going to be a tough game. Week 5 against the Eagles, yeah, I don't know about that. I think that's the way most people were.
Yeah. And what I said, too, is like I could easily see us going 2-3 through that stretch with the first 5 games. Or, depending on what team shows up, if the team figured it out and got pissed off about the shutout in Philly last year, you could go 4-1 through that stretch. I mean, we have this kind of team. This is typical Viking stuff. We're going to get it ironed out. We're going to get figured out.
I think 1-3-1 is able to be came back from. That's not that scary.
No, not at all.
And that's if that happens, the Vikings could come out and put on an amazing performance in Philly.
The Buccaneers beat the Eagles, all right, guys? The Bucs beat the Eagles. It is possible, all right? It is
very we don't
possible.
have the magic.
It's all right. You got Captain Kirk.
You think Kirk could grow out a beard in that short period of time? You know what I'm saying? In preparation for the game?
Oh, man, that should be a social media question. Who's got the best beard on the team?
Sergio Moreno says that Week 5 against the Eagles is not a must-win, but he sure would love it.
Yeah, and you know what? We'll talk about we can kind of go through the Rams stats from that game real quick, but remember last year we met them in the playoffs of the NC Championship game against Nick Foles. We have to face Carson Wentz.
And Jake Z in the chat says that Green Bay still isn't looking that scary and that their vision is still wide open. And yeah, that's what I've been trying to say is, well, other teams have been facing off. The Vikings' losses this season, they've only lost 1 game. Their one loss to the Bills is a non-conference, and then they lose to the Rams, non-divisional. The tiebreaker could work out. I wrote an article about it on the Viking Age, where that Week 12 game against the Packers could mean so much down the line.
Thank God it's at home.
Yeah, that's one game that I've already got that one circled as a must-win. That's the one must-win game that I see coming up.
Absolutely.
But I've kind of got pencil lines around the Bears games because I need to keep seeing if they're going to continue being as scary. And if they keep being scary, those are going to get sharpied around them.
The defense is going to be great, but I'm already starting to see, and this is why I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky and the coach over there as far as figuring it out, because I just don't think he has a high ceiling. I knew this watching him at my favorite football team in college. They almost lost to the freaking Cardinals, and the Cardinals are awful. They gave the game away because the Cardinals do that because they're terrible. But they were held to, 16 points by the Cardinals defense, who got shut out by the Rams, didn't score any points. I don't believe in the Bears offense, so that gives me hope because our offense is pretty good. Their defense is scary. But I don't know. I'm going to run through these real fast. We'll go through the notes for the Rams game and talk about standouts. Let's run through that real quick. The passing, Adam hit on it earlier. We cannot keep throwing the ball 50 times a game. I would like to see something where Jared Goff was, maybe 33 to 36 a game. Kirk Cousins had a 117 rating, a QBR of 85.4, 36 for 50, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 422 yards. He's not the problem here. Kirk Cousins is not the problem. And I've seen that a lot online, too, by the morons that come to comment that want to claim that they're Viking fans. Like, oh, yeah, the $84 million is worth it. Got a losing record so far, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you understand how football works? It's not. If you think Kirk Cousins is the problem right now, it's I don't know what to tell you.
That's what I was gonna say, because still seeing idiots like post that crap, and it's ridiculous. He's done nothing. He's been nothing short of amazing ever since, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, ever since the season. That speaks for itself. And, you know what I'm saying? It's not him. He's had interceptions, but it's not him. It's not him.
Yeah, I believe he's got 10 touchdowns now with 2 picks. And I can't remember which one of the picks came, if it was in the first game or the second game, but I know the one from the Bill game, Latavius Murray got pancaked and it got a lucky fall. Like, it's not on this guy. So, on the flip side of that, Jared Goff embarrassingly had the perfect passer rating against us. And I don't care what anybody says, because I watched him with Jeff Fisher, and this is a fun little nugget. 3 years ago, when Jared Goff came into the league, Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles and former Viking great that went to the NFC Championship game last year, Case Keenum was on this team. Those are the 3 quarterbacks I had, and they were awful. If you don't think coaching has something to do with how good this freaking quarterback is, you are high. All right? I hate Colin Cowherd. I'm not listening to him anymore because he's such an idiot with this stuff. He's saying that Jared Goff's not a system quarterback. Colin Cowherd, go drown yourself. You're an idiot. No.
Every quarterback's a system quarterback.
He's calling him Jared Montana after that game. Like, you're an idiot. Sean McVay is making this so easy for him, and I'm not taking away from him being, he's the guy throwing the ball, but we've seen what a good coach and a bad coach makes of this guy, and I'm just going to leave it there. Perfect passer rating, 26 of 33 for 5 touchdowns, a 95.8 QBR. He was amazing. That whole team is loaded. He did everything comfortably. He didn't look out of sorts most of the night, so good for them. I'm not going to take anything away from you. You balled out, so good for you. For rushing, more attempts this week. Yeah. 17, not 6 like the Buffalo Bill game. Oof. 17 attempts for the team. Kirk Cousins led 4 for 28. Dalvin Cook 10 for 20. Rock Thomas 1 for 4. Latavius Murray 2 for 2. 54 total yards. We still got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. All right, we got to get those up. The Rams had 100 total rushing yards. Todd Gurley had 83. Brandon Cooks had 10. Jared Goff had 2 for 7. No rushing touchdowns between either of the teams, which is really weird considering that we had Dalvin Cook and Todd Gurley on the field. I have to cover this one. This is great. Receiving, Adam Thielen, 12 targets, 8 receptions, 135 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the one dime that Kirk Cousins dropped to him. The longest here was 45. Stephon Diggs, 11 receptions for 123, coming in the clutch. Kyle Rudolph making his presence known, 5 of 6 for 57. Laquan Treadwell, 4 of 7 for 47. Aldrick Robinson, 2 of 2 for 2 touchdowns and 33 yards.
Boom.
My man. It's a good pickup. Good signing by the front office.
Now, what I found really shocking about this game is I've never watched a game with 5 receivers who have over 100 yards. I've never watched a game like that.
Could you say the first part again? You've never watched a game like this in what regard?
With 5 wide receivers going over 100 yards.
I mean,
ridiculous.
And that's what's crazy too. I'm not going to give the Vikings or the Rams because Aqib Talib wasn't there, that's why they lost. No, Kirk Cousins was carving them up. Marcus Peters played. That D line's nasty. That's crazy, man. That's just good. And that's the other thing too. Seeing some people saying that Flip needs to go. Are you kidding me? Flip's doing a great job. Are you watching the offense?
The offense is doing all right. I mean, not so much against Buffalo, but
not so much in the rushing game, which is concerning. But I'll put that somewhat on the line too. But good God, man, the offense isn't incompetent.
The Vikings need to get that run game going because right now it is absolutely brutal. Dalvin Cook running the ball 10 times with averaging 2 yards a carry. Latavius Murray getting 1 yard on each of his 2 carries. Rock Thomas comes in and gains 4, and you're like, what? Stop it. They're averaging 2 yards a carry? That's nothing.
Yeah, the run game being inconsistent is really messing us, especially number one for the talent that we have there. Latavius and Dalvin, that shouldn't we should have way better numbers than that. Number two, for you basic football fans, if Kirk has to drop back every time, knowing the offensive line isn't the best in the league, kind of towards the bottom.
So I got a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
Towards the end of the game, because they had Dalvin Cook on a pitch count during this game, they took him out when it was still a one-score game and had Latavius Murray in there. How do you feel about pitch counts when it comes to games that are so close?
I know why he's on a pitch count, probably for that hamstring, but I don't like it. If it's nothing other than that reason, it might have been why. And I'm going to guess if you had to ask them right now, that's what they would say.
Yep.
No. If he's your workhorse and he's healthy, put his ass in there. Put both of them in. I don't care. Put C.J. Ham in to block. Like, I don't care. I don't like it. Yeah, shout out to C.J. Ham, too. He's been doing great.
Yes. Go C.J. That's my next jersey right there.
Do it.
Ham.
But
yeah, I thought that was really odd because when you are in a situation where you can win a game and you've got a player on the sideline who's ready to go and the only thing you're trying to do is ease him back into action, but you know he can be a game changer, you put him in the game.
Yeah, there's some questions along the coaching staff that we want to have answered, but
Sergio Moreno says Cousins has been carrying this team with those 50 pass attempts the last 3 games. And yeah, absolutely.
That was never in doubt. I mean, look at the stats coming in from Washington. I know he can throw the ball. I just don't want him to have to throw the ball.
Jake Z says Skip Bayless still believes the Cowboys are a playoff team or a Super Bowl team. And the Rams aren't for real. But yeah, Skip is Skip.
It makes me think with Shannon Sharp. Skip! Oh, it's amazing. For LA receiving, we were breaking down the receiving on the Vikings side. Cooper Kupp led the Rams, 162, 9 receptions. Brandon Cooks, 7 receptions, 116. Robert Woods, 5 receptions for 101. Todd Gurley had 4 for 73 fantasy points. Yeah, they were just awesome in the passing attack. They picked on our weaknesses, if you guys didn't notice, with Anthony Barr looking like shit that whole game, and then Mackenzie Alexander being out of place. And I always gasp, especially this season, when Mike Hughes is out in coverage of any sort. I'm like, oh, God, I know where the ball's going, and it usually goes there. I'm not knocking on Mike Hughes at all.
Rookie's got to take his lumps.
Hey, you got to figure it out somehow. But it's like, oh, I know where this ball's going.
Xavier Rhodes took his lumps too.
Mm-hmm. The fumbles, Kirk Cousins had the one at the end of the game, having the ball being stripped. I really wish that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that was a kind of sad way for it all to go down. I wanted this drive to go down and at least be exciting, and then no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds you of 2 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago with Teddy. Remember we went 11-5, and we had the 2 games against the Broncos and the freaking Cardinals, and that's how the game ended. I was like, damn it happened again. That's not how I wanted it, but I mean, he was still trying to fight, but that rush from the Rams was just too much. Yeah. Minnesota defense, Mike Hughes led the team in tackles with 8 solo and total tackles. Eric Kendricks had 7 total, 5 solo. Andrew Sandeo, 6 for 4. Sheldon Richardson, 6 for 4. Daniil Hunter, 6 for 3. Quarterback hits, there were 2 from Richardson and Daniil Hunter. 1 pass defense from Jaron Kearse. And we have 2, 3, 4, 5 tackles for loss on the team, which was great. 1 sack from Daniil Hunter.
Not bad.
It's not bad on paper. It just these mismatches are what are killing us. But have some guys stepping up. Mike Hughes leading the team in tackles, so not terrible.
Sheldon Richardson grabbing 2 tackles for a loss as well as a quarterback hit. He is disturbing people, and he's got to keep it up.
I love it.
Looking at the team stats is where things get a little bit more interesting too, because time of possession in this game, Minnesota actually led, which we haven't seen that in a while. Usually the worst was when that Buffalo game just had Minnesota punting every 3 plays, and it got absolutely disgusting. But Minnesota did average 6.3 yards per play, which not too bad considering the 2 rushing yards per attempt. So you know they were getting it done through the air. Time of possession, Minnesota 32 compared to 27.5 for the Rams. Both teams picked up 25 first downs during the game, 1,002 yards during the game. Minnesota with the only turnover. This was just an exciting game. If you were a fan of football and you wanted to watch an exciting Thursday night game and you weren't a fan of the Vikings or Rams, you could still sit down and watch this game and enjoy every minute of it.
That's what you wanted. It was a shootout. Everybody wants offense. They want offense and quarterbacks and blah, 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 blah. That's what you got. We're looking at what? Let's add these up. 8 touchdowns between the two quarterbacks. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. The other stat that I want to throw out there, shout out to Dan the Man Bailey for making all his field goals and his 2 extra points. My man. Every time a kicker goes up for us to kick anything, I always look at the floor and be like, please don't. So good for him. 100% on the day. Longest field goal was, 40 yards?
Yes. He did have that one scary extra point, though.
He did. That's
Bounced off the upright.
Whatever gets it through.
Exactly. Exactly.
Matt Weil was almost getting his punts blocked this entire game.
We got to fix that, man. Special teams, I'm telling you. Good thing they have a little bit extra time going into this Philly game. I'll go ahead and steal this from Kyle West. I don't have a bold statement for this week. We've been putting up a Mike Zimmer quote of the week, and this is a good one. He says, I'm concerned. I've been concerned all year long. We've not played well defensively. We've never been. Probably anywhere that I've been, we've never been this poor in pass coverage. So we're going to look at everything, and we're going to get back to doing things correctly. Yeah, I hope so. I love you, Coach. Figure it out. Just go do what you do. Because this is not, especially with adding Sheldon Richardson and Mike Hughes and all these defensive guys that we have that we didn't lose, this is not how you're supposed to look compared to last year.
No, it's mostly the same unit, but swapping out pretty much Hughes for Terrence Newman.
Which should have been an upgrade, you would think, at least for the physical side of it. But I can't even put a bunch of stuff on Mike Hughes. I don't know what's going on. I'm blaming coaching and preparation, which is really weird to say. I don't know that I've ever said that about the Mike Zimmer era, but
no, you haven't.
Mm-mm.
I would like to see Mackenzie Alexander continue to take a couple more steps, though.
Yeah, in the right direction, not the wrong.
And I hope that Trey Waynes can clear his concussion protocol and be ready. Yep. That can take a while sometimes, so hopefully he can get back to 100%, get on the field, get practicing, and work with that defense to try to clean up what's going on. But like we said before, going up against this Rams offense, teams have been getting carved up and humiliated by this offense all season, and they're going to keep doing it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the Vikings did give up a ton of points, a ton of yards. But this Rams team is built to gain a ton of points and a ton of yards.
Yeah, they have that new formula that's going to you're going to see it continue to trend. That the salary cap's going to keep rising every year. Guys are going to draft rookie quarterbacks, and they're going to make the offense super easy for them, and they're going to go get superstars. It's going to happen on 1 or 2 teams, and that's the reason they have Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald. They got to sign Brandon Cooks. They have Todd Gurley. They're going to have all these great players because you're going to have a rookie quarterback deal, and they're just going to make all the pieces around him kind of dummy-proof. And I'm going to give him all the credit in the world. I didn't think that he should have won Coach of the Year last year because Doug Peterson won the Super Bowl. I don't know how that happens, but Sean McVay is an interesting and very good football mind, and he's super young.
Now, I'll say this. The Rams have a really good team, but their Super Bowl window is very tight.
Yes.
Yeah.
They aren't going to be able to hold on to all this talent for the long term. It can't happen.
Right. If you guys don't know that already in the chat, people are going to want to get paid, and sometimes they'll go to a worse team because they're going to get guaranteed money. It's going to be hard to patch all these people together, and Jared Goff's going to be looking for a contract next year or the year after.
Yeah.
So, good point.
Yeah, so the window's very small. They're going to do exactly everything they can to bring a championship to Los Angeles. So, who knows? Maybe they'll be able to pull it off. Maybe they won't, but I think the Vikings have a longer sustainable model. They've signed a lot of their players for the long term. They've got some salary cap spots that are opening up in a little bit. They do have some players they need to sign. Like I said, Trey Waynes is going to need a contract. I know a lot of people aren't very high on him, but honestly, you're not going to do a lot better out there for the money you'd spend. And then you've got Anthony Barr, who right now I know a lot of people are really down on, but he is a Mike Zimmer guy, and hopefully he can get back to being that guy. You got Kyle Rudolph coming up, who's going to need another extension. These players, yeah, there are some for the Vikings that are going to need some help, but for the most part, the Vikings have locked so many of these guys down for 4 or 5 years that they can sustain for a while and be competitive. And I'm just waiting.
I hope so. Like you said, we have a good nucleus, as they like to say, so we'll see about that. Next football game is going to be a long week, so if you're a fan of the show, we apologize. If you want to get more information from us, you should go to all of our outlets, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. We do post stuff almost daily on there for you guys to interact with. We'll use it on the show like we just read, social media question. We'll read off every one of your names, what you said, and go through there. But it's going to be a long week. It's Saturday now. Next Sunday, we're going to go to Philly, rematch with the Eagles from last year. With a super bitter taste in our mouths, and we get to play what was going to be the MVP if he hadn't gotten hurt. They're going to have their MVP quarterback coming back, so this is going to be a tough one.
If you're going to this game, there's a good chance that the beers might not be frozen when they get thrown at you.
That's good.
So maybe they'll hurt a little less. I don't know. But batteries, I think they'll still hurt, right?
That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, I'll never go to a game in Philly.
No.
Because I'll tell you this, if I go somewhere, I'm going to keep wearing my Vikings purple. And if I'm going to go somewhere where I'm going to get harassed and everything like that and possibly get assaulted, no thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't understand what takes in people's brains that's okay, especially when there's kids around too. I can kind of brush off some F-bombs or some whatever said, but there's kids at these games, guys. You got to act like an adult.
I actually take some pretty good pride in when fans of other teams come to Viking Stadium that they're treated, decently enough.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when I see the attitude that even the fans have on social media, and I know the Vikings have crappy fans too. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
There are those bad eggs out there that ruin every fan base for everybody. But wow, just the overall feel of those games against Philly. You shouldn't go into a game fearing for your life as a fan.
Shouldn't be assaulted in any way, shape, or form.
No. Just keep it to football, and hey, when the whistle blows, final whistle blows, it should just be like, just like any other game of good sportsmanship. If you hey, good game, shake hands and let's move on. That's kind of the similar experience I had. Like, it was nothing but I got nothing but love. It was really cool. Of course, I had, jab back and forth, with other Rams fans. I got hyped up when we scored, and then it was like vice versa when they scored. And I talked my little crap, and vice versa, they talked their little crap. But at the end of the game, when it was over. That was it. It wasn't anything personal. Okay, hey, mother effer, I'm gonna see you at the car and I'm gonna whoop you. It was none of that, except for this one guy.
Yeah, there was that one video.
There was this one guy. I'll be real quick. I'll just share this story. So, okay, after the game, waiting to leave, as we're going up, Kyle, you mentioned Marcus Peters. So his family was like sitting somewhere designated, area on like one of the top tier rows right there, right? So security kind of stopped us, so they can pass through. No problem. So they passed through this one guy. I don't know what the heck. It was just the entitlement on this guy was just unreal. He's like, "Don't anybody touch me. I'm not playing." And and I'm just kind of looking to myself, who are you? Like, we're just trying to go home, go to our car. But anyway, so his family, he passes by his family as well. It's this other last guy, part of the crew, this big, fat, black dude, whatever, because that's what he is. Anyways, so he wanted to make a mock. He looked at me and wanted to start talking, oh, so you ain't clapping now, huh? You ain't doing that skull clap, whatever thing now. And then, like, as he said it, he almost like busted his face, just boom. So my response was to him, you know, he caught his balance. My response to him, I was just like, and this is what I said, I was like, you might want to kill, you know what I'm saying, keep your balance together before you start talking shit. And pretty much only gave him what he gave me. But I swear to you guys, he looked at me like, oh, how dare I just open up my mouth and say anything to him. And he looked like he wanted to get physical. Like I kept walking, and the Rams fans that I was sitting around, pretty much they had my back, was just like, yeah, that's karma for you, because they understood, like, you know, they recognized in me, okay, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan, he's not being an asshole, all he's doing is just cheering on his team, and yeah, could respect that. So at the end of the day, just to kind of just circle back around, that's what it all should be. Hell, we hate the Green Bay Packers. But we don't want any bodily harm, you know what I'm saying, to be done to anybody just because of our fandom.
No, you don't pee on someone because they're a Packer fan. It's just not how it works.
No.
That's not what we do.
It's a funny meme, but we're not going to do that in real life. You know?
Jake in the chat says, which is why I love the NFC North. We can hate each other's teams, but at the end of the day, we can grab a beer. Sheer Rizzo says, what does Philadelphia fans know? They booed Santa Claus. That's true. They did.
Yeah.
And they told a 100-year-old lady to go F herself.
Oh, poor Millie.
Oh, Millie. But that's all I have for this week. Do you guys have anything else you want to add in?
I'm good. Check out all our stuff.
Excellent.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Instagram. I run the Instagram page. I'm trying to make sure that's somewhat updated every week. Twitter stuff still out there. For Facebook and Instagram, it's Purple People Podcast. On Twitter, it's Purple People Pod. And if you go on Facebook, like I mentioned before, and you interact with us on our social media question and our posts, we'll interact with you. The big selling point here is the YouTube thing. Share it with your friends. Hit the bell notification up top. Subscribe. It'll let you know when we go live for these shows. And anytime you interact with us, we're going to talk about you in the show, talk about what you're talking about, and use it in the show for content. So that's our way to plug it to you. And come back next week. Tell a friend and bring somebody new.
Absolutely. And if you get a chance, check out the Viking Age. You can download the app. That's where you can get up-to-date information on the Minnesota Vikings, as well as some cool opinions and insights into the team. And if you like zombies, Undead Walking is a good place to go. It's another place where I lend my talents. You can download that app as well, and you can get all your zombie info. And you're going to want to do that because the Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 finale is on Sunday, and then 1 week later, the Season 9 premiere of The Walking Dead. So grab what you can. And also on Wednesday, new issue of The Walking Dead comics. We're going to be covering all this stuff. And we've landed some exclusive interviews with a lot of the stars from The Walking Dead. So if you're a fan of people like Norman Reedus or Melissa McBride, there's some pretty cool interviews that are going to be coming. And you should check them out. I'd like that. Dorian, you have anything you want to pop here? Plug it.
I don't have anything to plug. I was gonna go on an Anthony Barr, but you know I'm not. I'll save it.
I think we covered him pretty well.
My whole thing, I'll just keep it short and sweet. He just really disappointed me in this game.
Oh, that cuts so deep.
With the lack of effort, it just seemed like it was just lack of effort, just kind of like whatever. I was really hot, so I calmed down since Thursday, but pretty much I just kind of like what I did. My initial thought was just say, yo, you need to go. You need to go. Like maybe we could trade him. You know, he still has some type of value. Just go. Because if you're not going to give any effort or whatever, then, there's no, please just leave. But I don't know. Not a lot of people share that same sentiment. So, I mean, I'm kind of curious, anybody in the chat, I might even post it, on our page, on our Facebook page, what do you think? What do you guys think of Anthony Barr? Should we still give him that chance to kind of prove himself, or should we, look to other pastures?
Good question.
Not a bad idea.
That's it. That's all. Skull Vikings. I love everybody, and yeah.
You even love Laquan Treadwell?
A little bit, maybe a little.
Well, he loves you.
Stay classy, Minnesota.
All right, guys. Yeah, do what he said. Stay classy, Minnesota.